Today on Mental Health Matters with Marty, COVID Schooling College Edition Part 2. You don't want to miss this. What's up, everybody? Hey, welcome again to another edition of Mental Health Matters with Marty. Here, we've been doing this series every Tuesday on COVID schooling. Listen, y'all, we are still in this together, and so many people are talking about getting back to school, what that looks like. Are we going live? Are we going virtual? Are we doing this hybrid model? All of that. So we have been doing this discussion now. Listen, join in, like and share, get the message out. We want everyone to join in with us. Listen, we're going to give you some time to join in, get out there. Hey, Brent Jones, what's going on with you? I need you to join on not only when the twins are on, but when I'm on too. No, just clowning, y'all. Listen, where's the Rasta GT with that? Listen, y'all, get the family, friends. We've been having some great discussions on this topic with COVID schooling. We are still in this pandemic, and what does that look like? And we want to give you impertinent information. Now, listen, let's make this disclaimer so that you don't hold us legally responsible. Listen, this is not a show to replace any CDC recommendations. This show is intended for educational purposes and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for medical advice or psychological advice, although we have therapists on here. If there is a medical or psychological emergency, please dial 911 and go to your nearest hospital. With that said, we want to just help you out. Listen, we love our students, and we want to commend our students for doing schooling in COVID. Hey, Radine, how you doing? Thanks for sharing. Listen, like and share. Y'all get the word out. We got some dynamic students, but we want to commend our students who have to go through schooling and education. What up, Steve? In education. I know all my friends and stuff popping on during this COVID-19 and what that looks like. I don't know if I could have done where these students, we want to applaud these brave students, both in secondary education and college, masters, all of that, because you're doing something that we've never done before. And maybe this is a time that we revamp our entire educational system. I always say it this way, and this is only the opinion of Marty Sellers and no one else. We cannot continue to use antiquated 1940s and 50s methods to teach 2020 students. Not today. And so this is a perfect time to totally redo our educational system for methods that are going to reach all students at their level of education. We're in a technological age, and we can no longer act like we are not in that. So I am so happy to announce tonight with us my co-host. It was his birthday last Thursday. He said it was a national holiday. I said it was his birthday, but I ain't one to gossip. None other than Thomas Davis from the DMV. What's up, Thomas?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up?
I'm not Martin. But what's up, y'all? What's going on?
Man, how was your birthday weekend and everything? Listen, DMV is never going to be the same. You had your birthday. You had the anniversary of the march. Hey, that was monumental. I wasn't there, but it was still monumental.
It was. I just wanted to say that it was a very low-key, chill weekend. COVID is real. I had an opportunity to rest, eat a little bit of good food, and drink a lot of great water.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Are we brand plugging tonight? Two can play that. Yes.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Since we are brand plugging.
But no, all was well. It was just a very relaxing and everything.
You cut me off.
Because you talk about the branding. It's not about you right now, okay?
You're absolutely right. Listen, we got some amazing college students in here tonight. Yes. And a college professor, academic advisor for hey Annette out here that we are so excited about. Yes. Tonight is about the students, and I want to bring on the students first, and so excited about them. Any thoughts that you want to say before? Listen, this has been an amazing series, Thomas. And listen, y'all, get your folk on the line right now. Get them out here. Get them on the line. Get them going. Because we got some dynamic students that you all need to hear about. And my thought was this: to hear their journeys along the way. What's your thoughts with it?
I'm on board with it. I just think that now that we're going into school full swing, shout out to all of my educators. It's been a very, very busy week for all of us as educators and as well as our students. I just want to just hear, like, where are we at? Like, how are we doing? Like, we know COVID is here. We know what's going on. But I just want to hear, like, what are we doing to survive? What can we do to have some survival skills in our toolkits? So I'm excited about these great group of young men and women on, and we have some people in the house. So I'm excited. Marty, can you believe that it's September the 1st?
Wow, I know it is September 1st, and so excited. We've been doing this now. Was this our 7th show or something like that?
Yes.
And so excited. Right. But I think what people don't realize, and this was day 2 for you, as our resident house therapist, as our resident expert, as our resident who's also dean of students for a school yourself. How has these first 2 days been for you guys where you're at in the DMV?
Well, let me just say this. I just want to shout out to all educators, whether you're on the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest, wherever you are, being able to sit inside of a classroom and observe our teachers pour out to screens of faces. Some screens have blank faces, but to just see the energy of our educators who are giving their all in their personal homes has been nothing but pure amazing. I feel like that how we start our school year is how we should finish our school year. So it's very important for us to just share, to encourage one another, to give as much shine, to give as much empowerment as possible. And even to our students who are logged in. One thing that we really haven't really discussed in a sense, us being on a screen is it's not benefiting, and they can't socialize with each other. I can't reach out and like give you a pound, Marty. I can't reach out and ask you a question in class. So we're just sitting on a platform for hours, not really being able to interact,
focus and all that. Can we put up Michelle Dolphin's comment back up, please? She talked about, and Michelle is the mother. We have 2 dolphins on here tonight.
All right, hey mom.
And mom is also in education. So, Michelle, I want to have you on the show here in the next couple of weeks as well as we talk to teachers who are going through this. And she talks about it's hard. It's been hard as educators during this time. I can only imagine. So what have been some of the lessons and things that you've been encouraging your team who are educators on how to relate to these students as well? Because I think that's very important.
Point number 1 that I want to make is always have a backup plan. So in the DMV on Monday of last week, we had a Zoom outage to where everybody was logging into classes. Hey, I got my nice lesson plan. I'm here to log into a blank screen. So always have a backup plan.
That's good.
If Zoom is not working, use your Google Teams, use Microsoft Teams, use WebEx. Always have a backup plan because things can happen, right? And then just the second piece, always know that when you're teaching, you're not teaching in a classroom. So you got to have the energy. You got to move around. You got to keep it going. Play some music in the background while they're waiting in the waiting room. Because you want our students to be as in tune as we are now. If I was sitting on here saying, well, hello, Marty, how are you? People would begin to exit out. Energy follows energy. So make sure that we are connected with one another at all times. So thank you, Marty.
That's good. Okay, ladies first. We want to bring on our lady first because she's been with me on this show a couple times and so glad to have her, my future attorney. You got to keep a future attorney in your back pocket, baby, because you never know when you need to throw them out there. But so glad to have back again on the Mental Health Matters with Marty show, none other than Miss Kira Pagese.
Yay!
How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Well, Kira, let us know what school you're going to.
I go to UCLA.
Yes.
And I'm currently studying political science and public affairs.
Wonderful.
All right.
So, Kira, how has this been for you experiencing this whole COVID right now as a student at UCLA?
I think that in the beginning, it was kind of new. It was very new because we had to do all of our classes on Zoom, especially for us because we're quarter system students.
Right.
So as soon as the pandemic hit, was kind of during spring break. So we had to start an entire new set of classes all online. And so we kind of had to like meet our professors online. We weren't able to build the connections with professors that we had had prior to that. And so it was very new. It was very weird. And sometimes it felt very lonely for a long time, especially during that last spring quarter. But I think it's kind of gotten, I'm not going to say better, but we've gotten used to it over time. So it's kind of just like adapted.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Good.
I want to bring on our next. I want to kind of bring them on, ask them questions, bring them on everything. We have twins on here tonight, y'all. We're so excited. But one thing I know that when I counsel twins, I think you have too, although they have what I like a wonder twin power, they are still their own individuals.
Yes.
In that. And so glad. I wish I had brought on the second set of twins because I got one of the twins of the two of the second group that I have. But anyway, first I want to bring on Mr. Isaiah Dolphin. Come on, Isaiah.
What's up, Isaiah?
What's going on, sir?
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to be here.
Good. Thank you, man. Tell us what school you go to and what are you studying?
So I go to Brown University and I'm studying health and human biology, which is a pre-med.
Okay, pre-med and love it. So what's your emphasis you want to do in medical school? So I got me a lawyer. I'm about to have a set of doctors.
We got some retainers to pass out.
Yeah, definitely surgery. I'm not exactly sure like what kind of surgery yet, but I definitely know I like to do surgery. And I know medical school you get to decide what you want to do there, so I'm gonna leave it to there. Yeah.
Right. Steve, wait a minute, my boy Steve. They got a little chin hair here. I ain't seen them since before they're growing up. They're not young men. I can't stand it. Yes. Now let's bring on your twin, Mr. Miles Dolphin. What's up, Miles?
Hi. Nice to meet you all.
I know.
How you doing, Miles? How you doing, man?
Doing well. How are you?
Good.
I don't want to be repetitive, but what school do you go to, and what is your major?
So I also go to Brown University, and I also am probably going to concentrate in the same exact thing as I said. Biology. Yeah.
Don't you love it? All these brilliant minds right here on the Mental Health Matters and here with us, Thomas. How do we get to be in such a room full with these young, brilliant minds?
Right. Look, I need to step on out the way.
I hear you. And we have another twin on here, but he didn't bring his other twin brother on here, but we're so glad to have him. Also from Cali is represented tonight. So we are so excited. Bring on Mr. Garrett Flowers. What's going on, Garrett?
How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. How about yourself?
Good. I'm Norfolk State represent.
East Coast.
East Coast, man. Psychology major, trying to figure out what practice I want to know, what focus I want to do. Probably clinical for sure. But yeah, psychology major, looking to be a therapist. Hopefully, have my own private practice. Hope eventually I'm gonna get there. Eventually, get my master's in there. So yeah.
Love it. So Thomas, we got a full house. We got a lawyer. We got 2 doctors in case we need to have surgery.
Right.
And when we need to see our own therapist, we got two. Yeah. I love these brilliant young minds.
Well, I must also say that although the West Coast is represented on this night, don't forget where they are at right now, the East Coast. So shout out to the East Coast.
They're in Cali right now.
No. You caught that.
I caught that. They're going to East Coast schools, but their heart is still in Cali.
Okay.
Yeah. Guys, how has this been for you all? I know I asked Kira that, but I wanted to ask you guys too. Let's start with Miles on this question. Miles, how has it been starting a whole new year here in California remote learning?
So I actually haven't started at Brown University yet. So about next week on September 9th, that's when it all kind of kicks off.
Right.
So
for year number 2, though.
Yeah. For my second semester. No, first semester of my sophomore year.
Yes.
And I guess but the big thing for me has been trying to pick my classes. It's a lot different because you can't really shop for classes, so you don't know how it's going to be. You just have to kind of go in blind. I'm kind of trying to pick out which class I think is going to be better to work on Zoom.
Right.
Or cause it's not gonna be in person anymore. So is it gonna kind of transition over well? Or if I do actually go back, will it have any Slack or anything like that? So that's what I have to kind of think in mind when I'm picking my classes. So that's the major difference for me.
Yeah, I'm sure that's hard, especially with you guys being in the whole biology field.
Right.
So how do you do labs and how do you cut up cadavers and all that other stuff? And how do we do brain surgery and that type of thing? Isaiah, same question. How has it been for you?
I think that's been a hard transition.
Go ahead.
There's definitely been a big transition from in person to online. I didn't think COVID was going to affect us as much, and then it just started messing up things. I had a couple internships lined up that are no longer there anymore because they're at a hospital, and obviously hospitals are the front line, and they don't let college students there. So that was a disappointment, but I just adapt to how I can change and do better despite the circumstances.
Yeah. Wow.
Awesome.
Definitely. And then Garrett, this is your senior year. And how is that for you now that, and I know you and I have shared some different things and you having to fly back and knock on the administrator's door, like, what's up? But how is this senior year for you doing potentially your last semester online?
It's been incredibly challenging, I want to say, because having to kind of have things set up as far as internships, as far as getting to know advisors and kind of really getting to know counselors and everything else, and all that had to stop and I had to move everything and go back home, and then not being able to communicate because no one was going on. No one was kind of trying to figure out, everybody was trying to figure out the situation. Even advisory was kind of well, we kind of have to figure out our family situation as well. So that was really extremely challenging. And it wasn't until the communication was just really shoddy too. I had to go back to Virginia just to figure out school stuff and figure out financial aid, administration, making sure my classes were in line, classes were in check. So it's been really challenging, definitely challenging. I mean, I'm glad I've gotten contact. I'm still glad I've got all my classes in check, got all my classes set for this semester. But I mean, yeah, it's just kind of a definite life change. It's kind of I have to kind of maneuver and figure out what's next now, in the midst of COVID, because I had a life in Virginia, and now it's I gotta be back home.
Right.
Yeah.
That's challenging.
Right. I have a question, Marty, for our great guests. You guys opened up strong, and you guys said 2 words that I wrote down on a piece of paper: adapt and change.
Ooh.
Adjusting to what we cannot control and changing our mindsets. So I'm 41 years old. So I just want to hear from you all. What does it mean in your life to adapt to what's going on? And what does it mean to change things that you can change? I would like to start with our young lady.
I would say it's very important, in our generation, specifically, we're very social. We're very, especially social media, in person. We're very just talkative, I guess is the way to put it.
Right.
We kind of just feed off of that social environment. So going from something like that to kind of being home, away from our friends and away from the people that we've kind of grown with, especially for me, grown with over the last 3 years.
Right.
It's been extremely difficult, but adapting has kind of been also difficult, but at the same time easy, because I do think our generation is easily adaptable as well.
Right.
So we've kind of found new ways to continue to be social and to continue to find that drive that is behind us when we're ever talking to people and we're with people and trying to find like the line where we can interact with each other and do it virtually and not have to do it like all in person.
Right. Thank you so much. Can I ask Miles, how have you adapted and changed so far?
Yeah, so for me, the big like adaptation I had to make was that I had to kind of like slow down like my life kind of like I was kind of, you know, everything was fast paced at Brown. I was always doing something every day. And so now I've kind of had to like kind of take it slow and find like a single hobby or something I can focus on during this time to kind of like keep my mind active or do things like that. And I think that's the big adaptation. Like I had so much to do at Brown and now it's kind of like been taken away. So to be able to like not feel that loss completely, I have to kind of fill that void with other small things. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else want to jump in?
Go ahead, Isaiah. That's a. We'll get back to it. Garrett, jump right in. I think he got stuck. Garrett.
Yes.
Change and adaptation.
It's been very, very different. You know, like I said, it's like coming home to something new. You know, it's like California is completely different than what I initially saw it as. So coming home versus like being in school for 2 years, being in Virginia for 2 years, and coming home is like California is different. With COVID, social distancing, and not being able to see friends, not being able to meet with others, and not being home. So, like Miles said, I had to develop habits, not just habits and hobbies, being at home, but just for my self-care, even considering what's going on in the world with brutality, being Black in the world, you know. So I have to develop like habits that kind of mentally be clear and still be like, all right, I'm still in school. I still got to get my mind right for school. And I still have to kind of get my mind right in other areas. So yeah, it's something like I have to constantly tell myself and give myself gratitude and give myself affirmations like this is not the end of the world, or this is not the end of where I want to go. So yeah, it's been tough. It's like it's a war, you know, it's an internal battle. But like I'm processing it through. I feel a lot better than I was when I first got out here, you know.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm loving these words that these college students are using, Marty. Affirmation, adaptation, change. You guys are on it. You guys are our leaders. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much.
Yes. Do we have Isaiah back? There he is. Isaiah?
Yeah, sorry, I dropped out for a little bit.
That's okay. You're good. We're talking about the whole adaptation and change. How has that been for you?
I'm not sure if everyone else touched on it, but I think a main thing for me is setting up a routine, because definitely going to school back east, I'm 3 hours behind here. So a lot of my classes were earlier now. So I have to get into a routine to wake up earlier and not, be motivated to do work, because sitting at home can be kind of relaxing, a little too relaxing to do work. So I think it's a good time to get a routine set and just get my mindset to do work.
Yeah, and I think that's what Garrett was struggling with too, because his school is back east too. So if you guys have early 8 o'clock classes, that's 5 in the morning for you guys here on the West Coast, and making that adaptation and change is
sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning.
What? Miles was going, nah. With that, listen, I want to bring on our next guest with that as well. I think it's always good that we have also someone on the academia side. So I want to bring in Dr. Sam Sanders, who's joining us also from ATM. Dr. Sam, how are you?
Doing well. How are you, Marty?
Awesome. How you been enjoying this discussion with these brilliant young minds that we've been having here?
I'm enjoying it a lot. Very, very enlightening, very intelligent. I'm impressed.
Good. Dr. Sanders, tell us what you do and jumping in from there. Yes.
Okay. Well, I am an administrator. I'm chief academic officer at a university here in Atlanta. I also have experience in human resources with over 20 years of executive level human resources experience.
Excellent.
And I'm a professor as well. My education, I have a PhD in business administration with a specialization in organizational leadership and healthcare administration. So I teach graduate and undergraduate students in healthcare, HR classes, management classes, leadership classes.
Yes. What advice from your perspective as being an administrator, overseeing academic affairs and all that, do you give to these students, these brilliant minds, about navigating through COVID on a college level?
Well, they already have a jump on it because they said some key words: being adaptable, being able to adapt to the changing environment based on the climate that we're in right now with this pandemic, and be able to adjust and adapt to change, realizing that the way you were doing your classes in the past is not working now. So you have to be very flexible and be affirming and be very positive. Take everything, look at the glass as being half full as opposed to half empty.
Okay.
So we'll jump on it already.
Good. That's good.
You are talking right, doctor. You're talking right.
Now, since you all now have also an advisor, what questions do you guys might have, Kira? Because I know your mind is always going with that you might have, or what suggestion could you even give to him to share back with administration? Because now's our time that we can have this dialogue with struggles that you all might have, frustrations, anger, Kira, but that's my girl. You know, I can pick on her. Kira, what are there any questions or statements that you want to share or talk through?
Just thinking, like listening to everybody talk, especially about everyone's adaptability. I think it's just very interesting that as students, we're expected to be so adaptable, and we have to be adaptable in order to get our degrees and go to our classes. But unfortunately, our institutions are not as adaptable as we are in this moment. And you can see that in the housing that they put students through, the financial aid, and different situations like that. And so I guess my question would be, where does that line fall? So how adaptable are we expected to be in order to match up with our institutions? Are we supposed to hold this level of adaptability in our institutions, just let it fall, and then we suffer in the end? Or are they going to have the same level of adaptability as us and support us throughout this entire pandemic?
Very good.
Loaded question.
She's like a true attorney. Gotta love her.
Kira, you are hired, okay?
Even Gary shaking his head. Go ahead, Dr. Sam.
Kira, that's an excellent question. Not only are you held to a certain level of adaptability, but also your instructors and your administrators are as well. As a chief administrator, in my current role, I am constantly training and mentoring other faculty members and other administrators on how to adapt to our so-called new norm. I don't want to call it our new norm because you think about norm, it's not going to change. But this too will pass, and it will change. But not only are you expected as a student to be adaptable, but also your instructors. We have really mandated to the instructors to be more flexible in their grading, in terms of assignments being turned in late, in terms of realizing that students are going through this emotional period in which they can't interface with their friends and their mates as they have in the past. So they have a tendency to go into a depressed mode, which is where Marty and Thomas will come into play. But your instructors are flexible. Your administrators are expected to be flexible, even in terms of the platform in which you're learning, because you're used to being in front of an instructor in many of, if not all of your courses. But now we have what we call, at the university and where I am, we have what we call Blackboard Collaborate, where we're having class during the regular normal time, but we're having it synchronous in terms of being like a Zoom class, except we're using the Blackboard format, because you're able to do so many creative things with Blackboard in terms of showing PowerPoints, in terms of engagement. And one of the things that Thomas said at the beginning that I thought was so key is that as we're dealing with this online modality, it's so important for the instructors to be able to have a backup plan so that when that whatever virtual platform that you're using go down, what are you going to do? You may have to go old school and grab that cell phone and let's do a conference call. So the instructors have to be flexible. I had a student last Monday, who his internet went out at home.
Right.
So, and it's a 4-hour class. So he texted me and said, "Hey, what do I do?" And I told him, "You have the Zoom number, call in." And I don't penalize them for that. So instructors have to be flexible as well. Thomas also says always know that you're not teaching in the classroom. So we, as an instructor, a professor, we realize that we're not face to face. So what do we have to do? We're charged with maintaining engagement between Sarah and myself as the instructor. So I have to be high energy. I can't stand there in front of the camera and just be monotone, because you'll go into a coma, or the next thing I'll see is you grabbing things and you leave it. It happens, and you know it happens. All
yes.
So there has to be some high level of engagement in the classroom. But to answer your question, and your initial question, not only are you expected to be flexible and adaptable, but your instructors too. And if you have an instructor who is not promoting engagement and flexibility and adaptability, I encourage you to speak with your dean. You got Thomas, someone like Thomas. Speak to your administrators. The first person you should speak to really is your academic counselor, because they're the ones holding your hand to get you through this whole process. And that's what they're there for. So even your financial aid advisors are being flexible. Your academic counselors are being flexible. Even enrollment advisors. Here in Atlanta, we're even talking about, our governor said that, we're waiving the standardized testing. You can get into Spelman now without taking an entrance exam.
Wow.
They're waiving that. That shows you the level of flexibility and adaptability that administrators are being to accommodate the students, because you're the client.
That's good.
But see, I think what, even in some of the larger institutions, like here is saying, like a UCLA, or the wonderful UC Regents, and anyone who's part of any of the UCs understand that they're almost like demigods and trying to break those traditions and everything. And they're like, it's our way. You will have a UCLA degree, you will have a Brown University degree. We're private institutions. We have to make sure our donors are making sure that
right.
So even, Garrett has explained that he had to fly from LA to Virginia to go bang down some doors because they were not answering his phone, they weren't answering his email, and his graduation is at jeopardy and all that. Garrett, would you want to respond even more to that? How some of your experience with that, and we shared your frustration, but how that could have helped you if they had been more adaptable. Oh, I think he's frozen too.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. School was is it?
You're okay. We hear you.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir. We hear you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. I feel like every school is I do feel like every school is different. For my school in particular, I do feel like there could have been things handled better, but I do recognize it was such a shock, Once again, I will share again, when I had to move everything out, I had to find out. We were in spring break, and literally the week after spring break, they just gave us right away. We have to go right away. Like that following Friday, or within the next Friday, we had to leave, and that was something it was a sense of urgency. And now we're having. I feel like it's just kind of like how everyone's telling him in COVID. In the state of Virginia, a lot of schools are opening back up. I know out here in California, a lot of UCs and CSUs aren't opening up, but out there they're opening up and whatnot. So I personally chose to stay out here because I didn't feel like I felt like I was jeopardizing my health. I didn't want to jeopardize my health or contract something, because what if I have it? I don't have it, but at the time I was thinking I didn't get tested. So what if I have it? I contract some of my friends out there.
Right.
And a lot of people from DMV. So a lot of people from DMV, it's a lot of people from Philly, a lot of people from New York. And the statistics for the CDC is saying these are some of the highest places. So I just didn't feel comfortable. And I kind of felt it was a large frustration with that because, school's opening, but the resources were limited, at least for me. Be home and then be on a phone call, talking to advisors, understanding that as harder as it is getting in contact with financial aid, because of, it's busy, but also because of COVID and everyone's doing school from home. So it's really hard. So I have to kind of wake up at 4, maybe even 3 sometimes to kind of pick up the phone and catch financial aid when they right away open and say, hey, this is what's going on with my situation. So Yeah, it just varies. You know, I understand every school is different, but I just feel like for mine, it's been really frustrating. I think I don't feel like, and unprofessionalism isn't the word, because not the fact that it's unprofessional. I just feel as if I feel like it's a new situation. No one knows how to handle this. And even the staff administration just doesn't know how to handle it. So we're just trying to find the best way they can. Even the staff administration, the leader of my psych department, she even felt really uncomfortable coming back on campus. And she vocalized to me like, I feel unsafe, you know. I have to do what I have to do for the betterment of the students. Again, like I said, every school is different, but that's just you know.
So if I can jump in right quick, what you said, sir, I just want to say I applaud your drive to give up. I applaud your efforts in keeping moving forward. And one of the things that I wanted to take from your statement and ask our great doctor expert on the call is, I heard a lot of things that centered around a word, and it's called empathy. So as an IO psychologist and having your education and experience in working in that field, how can we encourage and empower our staff to develop that sense of empathy? Because the financial aid office needs to be a little more empathetic, right? Because people have lost jobs. People are being furloughed. So how can we, as the working professionals, be more empathetic to our college students?
It goes back to training, first of all. They need to understand what's going on. And I want to back up on something that Garrett said that it's so important. One of the things and this all ties into empathy. One of the things that Garrett said is how some of the individuals with whom he worked or encountered, they were somewhat unprofessional. We need to look at this whole pandemic thing as being an opportunity to partner with each other, administrators, faculty, as well as the students. And I think the reason you have a lot of people acting very unprofessional is because of fear. Lack of understanding. What do you mean, Dr. Sam, about lack of understanding? They were prepared for this. No one was prepared for this. So it's like everybody thrown into the fire. And so they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a backup plan. That's why Thomas said originally, have a backup plan. Not only if your internet goes down, but as administrators, we have to do a better job in terms of forecasting what will be the needs for the future. And so that we will be on the leading edge and not the bleeding edge. And what is happening, individuals were not prepared, administrators were not prepared for all of this. So what do? Just what your parents would do. When they're frustrated, what do? They take it out on you. They start fussing. They start snapping at you. And then you go into turn off mode. And the same thing happens here. You have academic counselors not prepared for this. What do? Lack of training. There's no training. So we as administrators have to do a better job and bring the team together, the entire grad team, I'll call them, academic counselors, financial aid advisors, registrars, all of the staff members together and say, hey, this is what we are, and this is how we're going to move forward. If you can't hang, we wish you the very best in your future endeavors, and we'll push you into your destiny. But it's not for you to be here. And that's exactly what I did at my institution.
I love it.
This is where we are. And we have to realize without the students, they don't need us. So the whole point is, in order to promote empathy, people have to be trained how to be empathetic, how to be prepared and be sensitive. I do role plays because of my HR experience. Every encounter, I'll do a role play. If a student comes to me and shares with me a situation, if Isaiah comes to me and say, Dr. Sam, hey, I got this going on, I said, let's role play this out so that we will partner in coming up with a solution. Because we have so many people will sit on the sideline and be problem identifiers, but we don't have problem solvers.
That's it.
And if for each of you, if you want to be successful in your field, be it law, be it medicine, be it psychologist or psychiatrist, you're going to have to be a problem solver and not just a problem identifier. Whenever you go to someone with a problem, have a resolution already, because that makes you more promotable. That makes you more marketable.
Right.
That's good. Trisha, we had a question here up here, Trisha, and she had made this a question here. It says, the level of change and adapting to such new and challenging environments has to bring about a certain level of uncertainty and stress. Do any of your schools, and I think let's offer this to all of our panelists, our student guest on here, provide virtual resources for counselors to assist during this time? Let's start with Isaiah. Does Brown University, that you know of, offer any type of virtual support if you would need counseling services because you might feel stressed or anything like that? You got it there, Isaiah?
Oh, hello?
There we go. Yeah. Do you know that if your school provides any type of virtual support, say counseling services, if you're going through any type of situation? Because that's something that schools need to look at too. So great question, Tricia. Can you get that virtual support through services?
So one of the things that actually brought me to Brown was their extensive support system. It was very good when in person, and actually the transition to virtual, if not even better, because we could use Zoom to just meet with counselors and peer advisors directly without having to like physically cross distance. So there's a lot of resources available to actually help students with any questions that they need. And for example, I had a pre-med issue, and I just booked a Zoom meeting, and it was answered. So I think definitely there is a lot of counseling and support that I know in my experience that Brown gives.
Awesome. That's good. Glad to see that. Miles, kind of same question there. Since you both are at Brown and everything, do you feel, we heard Isaiah's with that. Do you feel that Brown has definitely offered various support services and everything for you virtually now since you're not on campus? Oh, are you able to hear me?
Sorry.
Miles. That's okay. We'll get back to you.
Question, I'm breaking up.
Yeah, no, it's about any virtual services that they're able to, student services, counseling services that Brown is able to render to you. Do you feel that the services are still up to par with that for you? We're going to get right back to you with that. So, Garrett and then Kira, let's go the same questions. Garrett.
As of recently, yes, we have a thing called Blackboard Collaborative Ultra. Collaborative, I'm not sure. We can have set up a private room with our teachers, advisors, and educators and say, this is what's going on. Help me understand the assignment a little bit more. We have Zoom meetings as well. For sure. I think as of recently, yes, for sure. As far as virtual and kind of getting to know advisors and everything else, for sure, yes.
Right. Excellent. Kira.
So UCLA actually has a program called Counseling and Psychology Services, or CAPS. Okay. So usually throughout like the regular school year, they're extremely impacted. It can take up to like 4 or 5 weeks to get an appointment with them. But during COVID, a lot of people weren't able to go fulfill their appointments or see any of their counselors because they were at home. So they've had a lot of open availability to see counselors over Zoom. They also maintained from what I understand, they've maintained like limited in-contact, in-person meeting with students who are living on campus and maybe don't have access to resources like computers or Zoom programming and things like that.
That's great. Good. Dr. Sanders also had a great point he put in our discussion here, but Dr. Sanders, if you want to address that, what you were sharing with me just now too.
Yes, just as we do in corporate America, having an employee assistance program for employees who have some emotional challenges or stress or fear. Most, if not all, universities also have the same services. And they don't do a good job in promoting it to the students, but I think it's important for our students to realize that those who are stressed or have some emotional challenges or in fear of the unknown, you can go to your counselor, and your counselor can refer you to a service that is paid for by the university. And you can do it either face-to-face or, as during this COVID, you can do it virtually. So it's important to realize that service is available to you, and you'll be surprised the number of students who don't even realize it. And it's free to the students.
Yeah, and that's good to know, because I think a lot of times we don't realize the services that are available even during this pandemic that you have, because it's part of your fees. what you're paying and everything in that regards. I want to make this point because I think this is quite a great point that Thomas and I were kind of talking through. Too often, what the media has portrayed about college students going back to school is the partying and the hanging out and the getting drunk and having all the frat parties and doing all of that. Now, that's part of the college experience. I'm not going to lie. I did my stuff while I was at UC Berkeley. Go Bears. Kira, almost the second, we still love you. You're part of the UC family. But what we are seeing are these academia geniuses, our future, our current and future, because I don't believe you guys are the future leaders. I believe you are the current leaders and the ones who are the trailblazers for us as well. And you guys are showing that not all students are going back to school for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
And that you would have taken, Kira, you are an RA on campus at UCLA. Talk to us about how this is even, what that's been like for you, as I know that, you're not for sure if you're going to go back to school as an RA or is that going to be virtual or what that, how has that been for you during this time?
It's been super stressful. I literally just got an email like 5 minutes ago that I will be going back to campus as an RA.
You will?
So I kind of like all of my stress is gone now because I've been stressed out for like 3 weeks about this. Not because I don't like being home. I like being home. I enjoy being at school and it's my last year. So I think now just the future anxiety is going to lie with like, okay, so now that I'm going back to school, kind of like how long is it until there's going to be an outbreak, or how do we mitigate the chances of having an outbreak on campus?
Right.
How do we stop people from going? Like the residential housing is literally right up the street from Frat Row. So how do we stop all of these freshmen that are coming in from going to these frat parties and going to like all of the parties that they want to go to? So that's going to be really crazy when we go back, but I'm still excited to go back.
Good. Go ahead, Thomas.
You guys are tuning my social work / counselor in me. So you guys are talking about a lot of great information. And Kira, you said something that struck me very good. You said that you're going into your senior year. You're tired of being at home. You want to be connected with your peers. I just want people to understand this that are watching us this evening. Social interaction is very important. Whether you're young, you're old, you're middle-aged, you seasoned, we thrive on energy, right? And so I just want to just know, like for our students who don't have that aspect of being able to go onto a college campus, how are you still keeping that social interaction with your friends, your frats, your sororities, your clubs, your organizations? Because not everybody is trying to get back onto school so they can party. People just want to be around other people. So how are you all managing your interactions with one another?
Good.
Kira?
Go, Kira.
Oh, how am I managing interactions?
Yes.
Right now I do a lot of FaceTime, a lot of texting. I don't know. It's not necessarily different because all of my friends go to different schools. Like all of my hometown friends go to different schools anyway. The hardest part has been like keeping up with my at school friends because we're not used to like calling each other and texting each other, talking on the phone. Like, we don't really do that. We're used to like hanging out in the dining hall and walking to class together. And so like, it's been kind of like, I've been able to see which of my friends and like been able to put in some type of work in friendships, like especially school friendships that I haven't been able to do before. Right. I feel like it was a lot easier to maintain those relationships when I was at school. So now it's kind of like the ball's in our court of whether or not we want to continue our friendships, if we want to keep talking to people outside of the school setting. So
right.
Yeah. Good.
Right. Thanks so much.
Miles, same question. How do you keep up your interactions and keeping that alive and trying to keep as best as that authentic school feeling that we all go to college for, to get away from our parents? I'm not one to gossip. I know your father. Go ahead, Miles.
Yeah. So like the big thing for me, I would say, is that a lot of the clubs that I'm in
or different things like that, we have like Zoom meetups and that we can do.
Okay.
Or I'm just like meet up with a couple people, kind of just like talk about what we did over summer, a couple friends, like FaceTime, like Kira said, different things like that. So it was kind of like scheduled things that like Brown was also telling us to do, like guys, talk to your friends, and you know, it's important for your mental health. So that's kind of like what I was doing this whole summer, is make sure I wasn't like isolated, like in a cave, you know, in my house. So always, you know, trying to talk to someone else, like not every day, but at least trying to hit different friends that I've met, or trying to cultivate those friendships, like Kira said. So yeah, because the biggest thing for me was I was on the club lacrosse team, and now that that was like my biggest club that I was in, besides like my extracurricular like pre-professional clubs. And now that, you know, we obviously can't play lacrosse, so yeah.
Did you hear the
right? I was like, okay.
And lacrosse team. I can't even play tennis, let alone lacrosse. Isaiah, how do you engage with that as well?
Yeah, I think definitely I'm on the same lines as Miles. I'm a little bummed out that I can no longer play lacrosse, but I think a big thing too is that I can do Zoom calls with friends, and a lot of social media. Instagram's a very good outlet, and actually a friend of ours just recently flew in, so we got to actually, you know, which is rare to actually physically meet. So just like cultivating trips, maybe like field trips, or not field trips, but like road trips, stuff like that, just to make sure our friendships are intact, and you know, just cultivate them.
Yes. I love this. Y'all define every Black stereotype.
Right.
Say, yes, we are brilliant. Yes, we are your doctors and lawyers and your psychologists and all of that. Come on with that. Now, Garrett, I know the amazing stuff that you do behind the scenes, and one of our future dancers here that is very, very artistic. How do you use and deal with your arts and dance that you do to help manage anxiety and stress and stay connected? We're going to get it. There you go. We hear you now. Go ahead. You there, Garrett?
Still. Okay, yes. Cool. Yeah. So it wasn't until recently since I started kind of. Okay, good. Yeah, it wasn't until recently till we kind of started linking up and sessioning together, and even then it's not more than, I want to say, 3 people, at most 10 people.
Right.
And we kind of get together and we figure out, all right, how are we going to promote ourselves? How are we going to promote groups and everything else? So we've done like choreo, and then we'll kind of like broadcast it on our crew page. And then we'll kind of just, but also we haven't done a lot of dancing as much. We just kind of take this time to kind of get to know each other at the same time, because, you know, a lot of people are going through their own battles as well. So we dance and we practice together. Every Monday I go to Van Nuys. Actually, I'm going to Van Nuys probably after this and kind of meet up with our team leader and talk about everything. Yeah, we meet up and we try our best and social distance, and we kind of have to figure out what's after this. What are our moves after this? How can we make our this group profitable, and what we want to keep doing after this? What is going to make us viral? What's like, you know, just trying our best to be creative in this time where it feels stagnant. And it's challenging, but also it's really fun, because it's kind of like, oh, we can do this, we can do that. I can just make a hat disappear and do this dance move with it. You know, it's really fun. So you get really creative during quarantine. I will say that.
You have to, y'all. This time goes by so fast. And
wow.
Yeah, Dr. Sanders, I know you have another meeting, so I want to ask you first. Any parting words, and how can our viewers, maybe and even these students, if they have questions to ask you later about navigating through college and COVID, because that's challenging. I don't know if I would have done it successfully. How can we, what some parting words, and how can we keep in contact with you?
First of all, I want to congratulate all of the students. You seem to be very bright, intelligent. You're brilliant. Keep up with your good work and stay connected. In order to stay connected with me, you can hit me up on LinkedIn under Dr. Sam Sanders, the only one that's in Greater Atlanta. And you'll see my profile there, and my contact information is on there as well. My email address, you can hit me up at samtsanders@gmail.com. And I promise you, I will hit you back within a matter of an hour or two.
Awesome. Listen, thank you for your words of encouragement and even sharing what you are doing. And hopefully some other administrators are listening to this. And y'all, if you have your own administrators, tell them go to Mental Health Matters with Marty on September 1st and listen to that segment and go back and teach your own administration what Dr. Sanders has recommended in that as well. So thank you so much for that and everything. Yes. Kira, how can people get a hold of you and your hashtags and all that?
Probably Instagram. I don't know. Instagram.
Okay, and even going into UCLA and again, great job, and we pray that this will be an amazing last year for you, graduating with your poli-sci degree, being an RA, definitely going to law school next. With that, all those amazing things that's ahead of you. Your future is so bright, but we want to just definitely encourage you. Keep doing what you're doing in this, y'all. Y'all show some love and encourage these students because they're doing such an amazing job at doing this during these challenging times with that. So thank you, Kira, for that and everything. Garrett, how can we get a hold of you, and how can we even know more about what you're doing dance-wise?
Same Instagram for sure. You can follow my dance team on Instagram. It's called The Beast Camp or Beast Camp. I go by Jay Striker or Gruesome. My name's Jay Striker, but how it works is I'm Junior Striker.
Okay.
So I mean, Instagram for sure. I have a couple of clips on YouTube. Okay. It's kind of like for me now. I'm older in dance, so now I kind of look at those videos. I'm like, cringe, because it's like I've gotten way better. But you can go ahead and watch Jay Striker on YouTube. I've gotten better, so it's like for me, it's different. It's like I don't want to promote, show you guys. I'm way better now.
We all grow and get better. Definitely. Our future Dr. Dr. Dolphin, Dolphin. Then we have to go M Dolphin and I Dolphin. How can we keep in touch with you, follow you, like you, all those good stuff? So, and again, real quick, Garrett, keep doing what you're doing, and congratulations as you're going to definitely graduate this year and everything. So we're proud of you, man, what you're doing and everything. And then Isaiah, how do we stay in contact with you during everything that you're going through as well?
Definitely through Instagram. It's Isaiah.dolphin, like the animal. And I think also my dad is a very big supporter of and very big support for Miles and I, and he definitely shares our journey through Facebook and Instagram as well. So his name is Steven Dolphin. So yeah, if you ever want to check in on us, definitely through my dad. Yeah.
We're not plugging Steve on this. We're not plugging Rasta GT and everything. Are we able to get Miles back on? I don't know if we're able to get Miles on. Miles, I see you in the virtual green room. But now is Miles Dolphin at Instagram? Is he right there by you?
Yeah.
Share the phone with him. I love it. Their father did a brilliant job when they walked on campus. He was already branding them as #Dolphin Twin.
Just Miles. Just DM me or whatever. Like I always respond.
Awesome. Yes, we're so proud of the two of you guys and what you're doing and just doing great stuff and breaking stereotypes about what Black excellence continues to look like. With that, and they have their daddy is halfway crazy, so they had no choice but to be great, and then their mother in education pushing them the way they did. But their father's like my brother. I love him to death, as crazy as he is with that and everything. Thomas, how do we get a hold of you?
Well, Marty, first of all, I just want to say thank you to our panelists this evening. You all have inspired me to keep moving forward. That's right. If I can just leave you all with any parting words, tell your story. Use your Insta stories, use your Snapchats to encourage everyone to keep pursuing your dreams, whether it's dancing, law school, staying in that financial aid line until they give you your money. Encourage other people, because you never know that other people are going through the same thing, but they just didn't hear it or didn't see it. So thank you so much. That's how you can follow me on Instagram at Limitless Possibilities for You. YouTube, same thing. My email account and my website is the same thing. So just you know what? Just find me. How about that? Just find me. I'll respond back.
Wow. As always, we want to thank you guys for coming on. Dr. Sam, thank you so much. Kira, you know I got nothing but love for you, bestie. Garrett, you always just jump in whatever I ask. And of course, Miles and Isaiah, thank you so much for joining us. Listen, as we do different things, y'all, this won't be the last time, because we want to follow your journey. Know that we are as my grandma might say, peacock proud of what y'all are doing and how you are definitely continuing the standards of Black excellence in our college arena, and that you guys are definitely doing what you do with that. As always, we want to thank you for joining us on Mental Health Matters with Marty. You can follow me as your mental hygienist. I am on Instagram and also my website, mentalhealthmarty.com. Again, that's mentalhealthmarty.com. I encourage you also on Facebook to follow me on as Mental Health Matters with Marty, and on YouTube, Martinez Sellers, pero no habla nada español, pero poquito. And check out my podcast. You can check me out on every podcast venue there. But definitely, we'd love for you to check us out on Mental Health Matters with Marty podcast. Please like and subscribe and give us a wonderful 5-star rating. But you can also text I Matter to 31996. Again, that's I Matter to 31996 to stay in touch with everything the latest of Mental Health Matters with Marty. We want to thank our guests today as we continue this conversation on COVID Schooling College Edition. We say it this way: you don't have to suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but we want you to speak up, speak out, and live. Until next week, God bless.